begin next February without further delay. In its judgment, the court stressed the need for the long-running matter to finally proceed to trial, but Zuma, through his foundation, says Judge Chile was wrong in law and fact. Nkosinathi Malingamnisi reports.
Zuma is still seeking the removal of lead prosecutor Billy Downer, accusing him of bias. His co-accused Tallis is also pursuing an acquittal application, citing the deaths of key witnesses. Both matters are before the Supreme Court of Appeal. Zuma argues that until those applications are finalized, the trial cannot proceed. JG Zuma Foundation spokesperson Mzwani Lemanyi says the judgment contains what he calls serious misdirections in fact and law.
Prospects of having the judgment reversed and overturned on appeal to a higher court are very high. It cannot be that a single judge can willy-nilly erase or rewrite the Constitution of South Africa, which guarantees several substantive and procedural rights to all accused persons.
Manyi says the court cannot apply one law to Zuma and another to other accused persons, adding that what he calls Zuma law must come to an end. Khona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News in KwaZulu-Natal.
Action SA is demanding that former Social Development Minister CCC Tolashe pays back the money. The party says she must pay back money earned by the irregularly appointed staff in her personal office, while the Freedom Front Plus say the public deserves to know the reasons why Tolashe was axed. Yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced he was removing Tolashe from his cabinet. She had been facing months of allegations involving appointments in the department and more recently a donation of cars she appears to have diverted to her children. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
CCC Tolashe is the second ANC MP to be axed from the cabinet in this administration after the former Higher Education Minister Nobuhle Nkabane. President Cyril Ramaphosa has told the National Assembly he doesn't owe the public an explanation for why he finally decided to fire Tolashe. But Action SA's Dereline James questioned whether Tolashe would be held accountable for allegedly diverting aid she received during her tenure as a deputy minister, as well as whether those who benefited from the irregular appointments will pay back the money.
Will she be charged for fraud? Will her advisor, the Ben 10, be paying the money for that irregular appointment?
Ramaphosa said the Public Service Commission is best placed to handle the employment irregularities and that he's satisfied a credible process exists for the executive to declare gifts.
Upon receipt of that declaration, we're able to say, yes, you may accept, or nay, you may not accept.
Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Hawks narcotics officer Joseph Sibola came under heavy questioning at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday over omissions in his testimony. Commissioners were probing why he failed to mention the presence of Crime Intelligence Officer Feroz Khan at a major drug bust. On the 9th of July in 2021, police confiscated 751 kilograms of cocaine from a truck in Ayrton in the south of Joburg. Circumstances surrounding the bust have been under sharp focus, with allegations that several police officers wanted to keep the consignment for themselves. Thabiso Koba has more.
At least 2 officers have placed Crime Intelligence Officer Major General Feroz Khan at the scene of the drug bust. In a statement he gave to police watchdog IPID, Khan also says he was present on the day of the drug bust. However, Hawks Narcotics Officer Joseph Sibola, who says he was in charge of the drug bust scene, says he never saw General Khan.
What you've heard about General Khan being on the scene, was it said he was on the scene before you arrived, or while you were there you just did not see him?
Commissioner, when I was making a statement to IPID, that is when I'm informed that I have been instructed by General Khan to arrest those members, of which I denied. Because at that time when I was dealing with the information and interviewing of them, I did not see General Khan.
The commissioners and evidence leaders have cast doubts on Sebola's version. On Wednesday, National Intervention Unit Officer Steve Pakula testified that he heard, quote, corridor gossip that the consignment of drugs was meant for General Khan. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The city of Cape Town is urging residents and businesses to reduce water consumption. It says its water treatment plants have had to be shut down to clear sludge buildup caused by the recent storms. Water and Sanitation MMC Zahid Badruddin says this has resulted in reduced production capacity at major water treatment plants and has depleted water reservoirs. He says all areas in Cape Town are affected, warning that supply constraints should be expected if water demand is not reduced.
This has resulted in extremely turbid raw water in our dams, which has necessitated additional treatment at our water treatment plants. And so our treatment plants have now reduced volume of the water being treated.
And in the U.S., the Justice Department has accused Yale Medical School of discriminating against white and Asian applicants. The findings follow a year-long probe into diversity practices at the elite institution. The department says based on admissions data, black and Hispanic students have a much higher chance of admission to Yale than white or Asian students with the same test scores. It now says it is seeking a voluntary agreement with Yale to bring the university's admissions practices into compliance with federal law. In response, Yale School of Medicine has dismissed the allegation, saying it was confident in the rigorous admissions process. Well, gold is trading at $4,611.06 an ounce. The rand is at 16.54 to the dollar, 22.12 to the pound, 19.28 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $106.84 a barrel.
And in your sports, South African Ulrich Potgieter alongside Scotty Scheffler and 5 others in a one-shot lead at the PGA Championship. The Springboks won't have Asanate and Tlabakanya for next year's World Cup. Right now, the Lions have to do without him against Munster tomorrow. Yannick Sinner wins a record 32nd consecutive Masters 1000 title.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. Johannesburg starting at a low of 8 degrees, peaking at 24. Pretoria 9 and 25, and Vereeniging 6 at a high of 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, former President Jacob Zuma is pushing ahead with efforts to stop his arms deal trial from proceeding, pending the outcome of 2 interlocutory applications. Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Well, the Concourt must weigh the rule of law against the interest of justice in the case of disgraced Dr. Nandipha Makutumana in her deportation case. Makutumana escalated her bid for freedom to the Apex Court, where she is challenging the lawfulness of her arrest in Tanzania. Makutumana and convicted killer and rapist Thabo Bester were arrested in the East African country in 2023 while on the run, but she is arguing that South African authorities flouted the law when they arrested her. Khomotso Modise reports.
The Home Affairs Department has told the Constitutional Court that it was Tanzanian officials who arrested Dr. Nandipha Makutumana and Thabo Bester, and it was their decision to hand them over to South African authorities as a form of deportation. This is in response to the argument by Makutumana's lawyers that a delegation of South African police and Home Affairs officials unlawfully effected her arrest in Tanzania. The court has asked Makutumana's lawyer, Anton Katz, how they should approach relief for her if the court is to rule in her favor.
That when the government acts in the way that it's acted in this case, requires a declaration that the courts of this country will not lend itself to a process in which the person appeared before it, was brought before it in the way that is.
Ultimately, Makutumana wants the Apex Court to declare her deportation from Tanzania and subsequent prosecution in South Africa unlawful and therefore order her release. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Constitutional Court.
The Motor Industry Staff Association is backing new proposed law changes that could force employers to reveal salary ranges in job adverts and limit the use of previous salary history when hiring. The Fair Pay Bill seeks to tackle wage inequality by strengthening the principle of equal pay for equal work. The union says the changes could help close pay gaps and make recruitment processes more transparent while improving confidence amongst job seekers. MISA spokesperson Paramile Hlubi-Majola says the union will take part in the public consultation process.
MISA, the Motor Industry Staff Association, welcomes the publication of the Fair Pay Bill as an important step to strengthen fairness and transparency in South Africa's labour market. The bill proposes several reforms aimed at modernising salary practices.
And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to begin his 5-nation tour in the United Arab Emirates today before heading into Europe. The 6-day trip comes after India and the European Union sealed a free trade agreement in January. It will include visits to the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway and Italy. But the tour is being overshadowed by energy and supply chain worries due to the war in the Middle East. Disruptions around Gulf shipping routes and the Strait of Hormuz continue to drive volatility in oil and gas markets, increasing pressure on energy importing economies, including India. In your weather, a partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 6 and 8 degrees and highs of between 23 and 25. A top story in EWN. The Constitutional Court must weigh the rule of law against the interest of justice in the case of disgraced Dr. Nandipha Makutumana in her deportation case. faces multiple serious charges, including murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Kiva was transported to Cape Town and appeared in the Wynberg Magistrates Court on Monday. He remains in custody and is expected to apply for bail next week. Santaco Western Cape Second Deputy Chairperson Nazim Abdurrahman.
Santaco respects the legal process and the presumption of innocence. Operations are unaffected at this stage. Santaco will not comment any further while the matter is before the courts.
And a new multinational anti-gang force is being deployed to Haiti to replace the under-equipped multinational mission to support the Haitian police. This is according to an update provided to AFP by the United Nations office in Haiti. The office says clashes between gangs in the capital have left at least 78 people dead since Saturday. The violence since the weekend has displaced some 5,300 people. A hospital and a Doctors Without Borders facility have been forced to suspend operations and evacuate their staff. Haiti, which is the poorest country in the Caribbean, is ravaged by gang violence. The situation has steadily deteriorated over the past 2 years. Gold is trading at $4,612.57 an ounce. The rand is at 16.57 to the dollar, 22.15 to the pound, 19.30 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $107.05 a barrel.
In the traffic, look out for faulty traffic lights in Edenvale at the N3 North in Modderfontein, as well as Laurie in Modderfontein and in Linksfield at the N3 North and Linksfield.
And in your sport, Aldrich Potgieter in a group of 7 leading by 1 at the PGA Championship as Garrick Higo could be top but was penalised 2 shots for a late tee-off. Orlando Pirates fans start the celebrations early. Their team is 1 win away from a long-awaited league glory. In the Premier League tonight, Liverpool away at Aston Villa. And Yannick Sinner wins a record 32nd 1,000 Masters title on his way to the Italian Open semi-final.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 6 and 8 degrees and highs of between 23 and 25. The top story in EWN this hour, suspended organised crime unit member Sergeant Faninkosi has been slapped with additional charges by the Madlanga Commission Investigative Task Team.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
It's official. Winter is here and those chilly mornings and evenings are back. So if your wardrobe isn't ready for the cold, don't despair. Helix has new winter collections from suits, overcoats and jackets to knitwear and pullovers, and they'll all keep you warm, comfortable and stylish all season long. Plus, Helix offers exceptional value, quality, style and service that have become legendary. Wrap up in the warmth and style of Helix winter collections. Helix, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 7:02.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock, your responses then to the leader of the DA. He has said on this station, was speaking to Clement Manyathela a little earlier in the week, saying all of last weekend he was getting calls, sometimes even from the ANC and even business leaders, about how to proceed when it comes to the troubles the president is facing. As I said to him, the 2/3 majority threshold is a very high one, and even with 40% in parliament, the ANC may not necessarily turn against its president. So what might he need to do as the leader of the DA? The top story in Eyewitness News, yet another top cop in the dock. This time, the organised crime unit member Sergeant Faninkosi being slammed with additional charges. This now by the Madlanga Commission Investigative Task Team. And I was making the point just yesterday that when we see these top cops going to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and saying outrageous things, is it that some are deliberately trying to, dodge the bullet? And if they give vague, unclear answers that perhaps don't reflect well on their professional abilities, do they think perhaps they'll get off more likely than if they were to give the best version of themselves and reveal themselves to be compromised. I mean, here's an awkward moment that happened at the commission yesterday where the Hawks Lieutenant Colonel Nkwana Joseph Sibola was trying to explain the commission about several officials who gave contradictory versions of events as to who was in control of that scene where that drug bust hall disappeared.
This tall one, Mashaba was a bit taller than, he's saying this tall one, is keeping everybody at toast, was Burvai. That is what he was saying, because Jolene could also say a bit of Zulu word and Afrikaans, because that is when then I understand, no man, that cannot be the behavior.
Did you make sense of it? So often, I hope he's not listening, often my colleague Muteo Khwaripe, when I'm really getting excitable, he gives me a look that says, pipe down, calm down, right? And so yesterday when I said, do these officers, are they deliberately trying to appear as if they're professionally incompetent so as to perhaps get off more lightly? They were naive, they didn't know what they were doing, they are clearly incompetent. Or is it that they are? Right? That's just who they are. And that's why they give these explanations that you really can barely understand. Because if they were to show themselves as competent, then they weren't just naive, but they were deliberately malevolent in their actions.
I then approached Sergeant Ndo, and he confirmed to me that the person driving a black Nissan buggy loaded with black sports bag was leaving, and he then blocked him with the marked police buggy. And I approached the driver of that black Nissan who was seated in the buggy and identified himself and to me as Warrant Officer Morana.
When you say he was leaving, just be clear, do you mean the buggy was driving away?
The buggy was driving out of that scene.
So in other words, it was leaving the place where
it was leaving the place.
Yes.
That is the reason why
he blocked.
Then he called. I understand that is when he called the Khozo and others.
So is it your understanding that if the police van had not blocked the black buggy would have left the campus where the scene was?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yeah, ne? Isn't that all you need to know? And when last did you see or hear these scenes from the National Assembly?
Do you want to remain in the House? Better behave. Honorable members, can those of you with their hands up put them down? No. Can we go back to the order in terms?
In that case, Honorable Speaker, we cannot sit.
Thank you.
Yesterday, it all got heated in the National Assembly as parties walked out for the first time in a while. And this, of course, about the president, that heated sitting yesterday, that question and answer session with the president. MKP and EFF members demanded an immediate debate on a motion of no confidence linked to the Phala Phala matter. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Togo Didiza, was never going to give them that.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
I need to tell you, of course, yesterday we had a conversation about the threat to our universities, and I think it is a pertinent conversation because, of course, some of the rankings of Africa's top universities have been released, and it's worth talking about. And that's why yesterday we had the conversation around the universities because of the threat that they continue to face. In the top 5, ranked best university on the continent is the University of Cape Town. Stellenbosch is number 2, Number 3 is Wits University. In just that top 5, we have the 3 top universities. We have another 2 in the top 10, and that's why that conversation matters so much. Let's turn now to the World Cup later on in the year. We're getting closer to it. The US last hosted that tournament in 1994, but this time it's alongside Mexico and Canada. And there is a concern from climate experts about the heat. We're in an El Nino cycle in that part of the world, and so they're saying it is going to be the hottest summer on record. And do you know that it was on this day, 1940, brothers Maurice Mac and Richard Dick McDonald quietly opened a small roadside spot called McDonald's Barbecue in San Bernardino. It started as a simple drive-in and has grown into McDonald's, the world's largest food chain. Which fast food chain do you still find yourself going back to repeatedly? Is it Steers? Is it Wimpy's? McDonald's? Spur? Burger King? Muchachos? This story yesterday, I heard Monga speak about it. Health authorities issuing an urgent warning. 2 people left critically ill following the use of unregulated injectable substances bought through informal channels. This is for cosmetic and sexual enhancement purposes. Preliminary investigations suggest some of these substances are linked to body contouring procedures, the so-called Brazilian butt lift, the BBL treatments, as well as sexual performance enhancement products. Again, health authorities are saying stick to the experts.
702. Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
All right, let's catch up with the roads. What are you seeing at this hour?
Thank you, Bongani. If you're traveling in Centurion, leaving it, that is, traffic is sluggish on the N1 South between Samrand Road and New Road. And then the N1 North is also starting to experience some peak time delays. This is from Beyers Nodia all the way to Winnie Mandela Drive. And over in Pretoria, the R80 is also experiencing that rush hour congestion. This is as you head towards Eskempahlele Drive. Also look out for faulty traffic lights in Woodmead, at Woodmead and Woodlands, as well as in Kyalami at the R55 in Kenilworth. I'll have more updates in just a bit.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
17 minutes after 7 o'clock. I'm asking a very simple question this morning. Have we lost our sense of public morality? And if we have we lost it irretrievably? We've seen, of course, a number of high-profile individuals, including senior law enforcement officials, squirming at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. When the KZN Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, first made his allegations last year, I think even those who are his most ardent supporters and believers would still be surprised at what has emerged in that Commission of Inquiry. We've also seen the arrests that have followed witnesses once they have appeared. This week, we saw in the dock the top cop in the land. Yet once more, we have a national police commissioner being a criminally accused. But it was particularly difficult to watch him sitting in that row with his fellow accused. And we're asking the question this morning, have we lost our public morality? Yesterday, we had a conversation about universities and the fact that ideas about academic debate are not necessarily the burning issue, but the thorny one is procurement. Who gets what tender? We've seen a vice-chancellor at some point with a bounty on his head. He's now been suspended from the same university that is being accused of giving qualifications to politicians who haven't earned them. There are so many examples. I could be here all day. Our first guest is Professor Richard Calland, who is the director of the Africa Program for the Cambridge Institute for Sustainability and Leadership. Prof. Calland, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bongani, and thanks for raising such an important question.
You've heard my introduction, and there are so many examples I could point to. Let's start with the overall issue. Have we lost our public morality? And if so, have we lost it irretrievably?
Well, look, like a lawyer opening a case, you did it powerfully and presented a compelling compendium of examples there that really, I think, demonstrate the point that there is a crisis in leadership. There's a crisis not just in, you use the word, I think at some point, public leadership. I think it goes across the board. I don't think it's right to say that this is just a crisis in leadership in state institutions or public institutions. There's a crisis across the board. So, for example, in my field of sustainability, there is a crisis in the private sector in terms of taking sufficient action to respond to systemic challenges, whether it be climate change or inequality and so on. And of course, we all know that when it comes to corruption, it takes two to tango. And often there is a payer, a corrupt individual on the private side, as well as someone who's willing to bend the rules or break the rules on the public sector side.
I've often used this example of the boiling frog, right? That corruption and this loss of public morality isn't something that happens in a day. The frog doesn't jump into boiling water, but slowly, as you heat up that temperature over time, it's so comfortable it doesn't even know it is now at that boiling point. It's an adequate illustration of what's happening in our society, isn't it?
Yes, and there are also examples, role models that come forward. And I'm looking around the world here, not just in South Africa, and I'm seeing leadership that sets a role model that is so contrary to what would be ideal, so counter a normative core, if you like, a values-based approach to leadership. And I look, for example, at the US president as someone who, in so many respects, defies the kind of values that are essential. He defies complexity. He denies science. He attacks people who reason, and he puts forward a view of life that is so kind of encouraging of vitriol and so kind of supportive of people who do not take a stand for what is ethical, that it's very easy then for people to follow in that way. And that's a problem. So the frog point is that we all have to become aware of this, and we have to do something about it and stand up. And I believe, and I'm an optimist, Bongani, that many people do that. They just may not be visible. And so when I look around the society that I live in and see leadership, I see great leadership as well as poor leadership. The crisis of leadership, in a sense, is at the top. It is that people are using and abusing power for their own personal gain. And then when someone like Keir Starmer, who I happen to know because I was at law school and was a decent guy, comes along, he doesn't succeed somehow because the rather ordinary virtues that he puts forward get kind of squashed by this noisy squeal of populism that is prevailing around the world. So Nigel Farage, who's a Trump light, seems to be succeeding in British politics, despite the fact that he also is a corrupt individual, someone with a venal intent.
And look no further than some of the people in his party who have become electable. I'll ask you to pause for a second, Prof. Calland. Our other guest this morning, of course, is the political analyst and journalist, Justice Malala, who joins us now on Zoom. You've heard some of our conversation, Justice, as we were trying to connect to you. And I've mentioned a couple of examples. Take your pick. Just this week, the head of crime counterintelligence in Gauteng, the Hawks head in Gauteng, in the dock. We saw the National Police Commissioner being now criminally accused. Yesterday, of course, the president firing a very unsavory former minister of social development. On and on and on it goes. I'll ask you the question. Have we lost our public morality? And if so, have we lost it irretrievably?
Oh, I don't think it's morning, Bongani, morning to your listeners. I don't think it's irretrievable. I think that all as in many other things, it's a battle. It's a battle to every day try to bring back that moral and ethical compass that we admire people like Walter Sisulu, Nelson Mandela, and others for. But we are at a particularly bad juncture in the history of the world, as Professor Calland says. It's not just us here. I think if you look at the White House, for example, in the US, in just a single day, you have violations of that compass. Every second hour almost, you have a president who calls women journalists all kinds of names and so forth and so forth. So to the point about Nigel Farage, for example, that's the kind of thing you get. Here in South Africa, it's particularly worrisome that we've almost suspended our mental faculties to listen to some people who will one day call a judge a racist for finding or ruling against them, and the next day be jumping up and down and saying the judiciary is the best thing since sliced cake. So I would say the battle is on. The battle is not lost. I think that there is so much more that needs to be done, and I think there are good people who can do it. But it's not lost. It's just at the bad space right now.
I wonder who those good people are. I want you both to listen to the ANC's national chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, dismissing recent remarks that were made by the former National Assembly Speaker, Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula, on the Phala matter. Let's not forget, of course, she remains a criminally accused person herself who has suddenly found her sense of morality. Gwede Mantashe saying, hang on a minute, this is not somebody we are to take seriously, but I wonder if we are to take him seriously too. But have a listen to this exchange in case you might have missed it. This is on Newsroom Africa earlier in the week.
She's committing one mistake. She's blaming Balula, who was not asked at the time, by the way. That means there's something not adding up in her mind at this point in time, and we understand that. We're not going to pursue that because it's not an issue to pursue. But the issue is, politics is about parties taking decisions. And if you have numbers, you use your numbers to suit your objective. The day you lose that, then there are no politics. I interviewed one of the veterans of the ANC in my research, and I asked him, what is this? The difference between a liberation movement and a party that is in a parliamentary system is that the numbers of votes and the number of seats determine the weight you have in the decision-making process. And there's nothing wrong with the ANC using its numbers to take a particular decision.
The minister there, and let's not forget, the minister there, saying forget principle, forget right or wrong. Ultimately, it's a numbers game, and if you have them on your side, the plan is to use them regardless of the circumstances. Justice Malala, your response to that?
Oh, it's so depressing to hear that. It's so depressing to hear that from someone like Gwede Mantashe, who I have quite a bit of time for, despite the many lapses like the one you've just played. I think the key thing, beginning with you, me, many of us journalists in particular, is when a statement or someone like Gwede Mantashe makes a statement like this, in our journalism, we have to start by also pointing out in the story that we write or tell that Gwede Mantashe is implicated in the Bosasa issues, and therefore he would, not even reaching a conclusion, just saying that this is the person I'm talking to, I'm interviewing, without giving the listener, the reader, that context, then we take something away from the ability to discern between bad actors and good actors. And so I would start with just giving the information that the person we're speaking to, the person we're speaking about is this person, and that information is crucial. But that statement is so ANC, in that the ANC would have said, or the ANC of the past would have said, what is right and wrong, what is moral and what is not. And therefore, our actions will be informed by that. Not we have numbers and we will protect our men or our women. with those numbers no matter what. And that is what he's just said. And that gives you, if that doesn't tell you where South Africa is right now, then I don't know what
else will.
One would need to hear to conclude.
Prof. Calendar, let you have the last word on this. The point Justice Malala makes there is also about who says or makes these statements. I mentioned that Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, notwithstanding the claims of betrayal she is making, as a former National Assembly Speaker, is a criminally accused person. We then have a current minister, a member of cabinet, dismissing her comments as if something is wrong with her mind, who himself is implicated in a commission of inquiry. This is exactly the kind of morass I'm describing.
Yeah, morass is the right word for it. And I think we have to confront the fact that the African National Congress, to a large degree, despite the efforts, I think, of Cyril Ramaphosa to renew the organization, is in a spiral. It's in a sort of moral death spiral, if you like, and it's going to be, I think, very difficult for the party to pull itself back from that. And which takes me to my other point, and it builds on Justice Malala's point when he says the fight is on. In the end, any political victory in life, history, has been attained through mobilization, through struggle. And so the struggle is on, and those people in society who believe in ethical leadership, who believe in science and reason, and not just power and money, have got to take a stand. And I've been rereading, lastly, if I may, Timothy Snyder's great history book about the tyranny in the 20th century, the 20 lessons. He wrote that during the first Trump administration, and several of those lessons are about this. They're about taking a stand. They're about professionals, for example, standing up for reason, standing up for science, standing up for data, journalists, and so on. And that's what those of us, that's where the power comes to resist this trend. That those of us who
Tim Snyder also warns in that book, Prof. Calendar, as you will know, that sometimes tyranny takes hold because we do nothing. And I suppose that's the point. As South Africans, are we just watching this movie and feeling powerless? Or if the fight is on, as Justice Malala suggests, what are we going to do about it? It's out.
EWN Business.
All right, we're a little bit behind with our business news. We also struggled to make that connection with Justice Malala, who's speaking to us from the US. So, Ray, shall we get straight into the markets and your indicators?
Let's do that, Bongani. All US stocks have advanced, lifted by a rally in tech stocks as investors absorb generally solid economic data and watch for developments from Beijing. Tech stocks have been driving the market, you see, bringing welcome relief as the conflict in the Middle East has brought instability over the past several weeks. Back home, our all-share ended relatively flat yesterday, but markets have been up. The big concern at the moment is the strengthening dollar. And I've been watching this over the past hour or so. The dollar to the rand, or rand to the dollar, 16.60 now. The pound, 22.17. The euro, 19.33. Platinum now, $2,008.25, so losing some value. Gold also losing some at $4,584.26. Brent crude oil's gone up $107.03. I'll have more business news for you in an hour.
Time now for the latest Eyewitness News, brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Mbali Dlamini in this morning. Are the soldiers doing the job they've been deployed to do?
Well, Bongani, a very good morning. The president has reiterated his confidence in that decision to deploy soldiers to help police fight gangs in parts of the country, but it says it's too soon to draw definitive conclusions about that deployment. He told the National Assembly there are already indications of a reduction in crime in the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape, but the DA's parliamentary leader, George Mikalakis, challenged him on this assertion, saying the number of murders in Cape Town increased soon after that deployment. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says since the start of the deployment in April, tangible progress has been made in the seizure of weapons, ammunition and explosives. But he acknowledges this is only a temporary measure and says it buys the police time to come up with a holistic strategy.
I do believe that it was a correct decision to deploy the South African National Defence Force to support the South African Police Service and we are beginning to see good dividends.
Ramaphosa has justified the more than 823 million rand expenditure, saying he's confident of the benefits of the deployment.
Success will come. I'm sure about that. And our police service and our defense force is under enormous pressure from me.
Ramaphosa has dismissed another attempt from the DA to suggest that policing powers should be devolved to the provincial level as a means to get the crime situation under control. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Gauteng province faces a growing financial crisis as unpaid invoices and unrecognized expenditure commitments continue to mount. Gauteng Finance MEC Nkululeko Dunga says the problem is no longer a technical accounting issue, but a structural failure in the way that the province manages its finances and contractual obligations. He says service providers, including many township-based and small businesses, have delivered goods and services but remain unpaid. Dimakatso Leshoro takes a look.
Total accruals stood at 9.3 billion rand as at the end of the financial year ended March 2026, with more than 4.9 billion rand already outstanding beyond the 30-day payment period. Dunga says some departments have effectively normalized operating beyond their available cash flow, driven by overcommitments, delayed invoice processing, poor contract management, and weak expenditure controls. Yesterday, he told the media that in some cases, departments have appeared to improve their 30-day payment compliance on paper through selective payment runs, while the overall accrual burden grows in the background. Meanwhile, the province is also facing pressure on the revenue side. It missed its own revenue target for the last financial year by more than 1 billion rand. Dunga warns that a combination of rising accruals and weak revenue performance is eroding the province's fiscal position. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
And Israel is threatening to sue the New York Times over a piece it published denouncing the alleged sexual abuse of Palestinian detainees. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Foreign Minister Gideon Saar have ordered the initiation of a defamation lawsuit against the publication. The Israeli government says the piece is one of the most hideous and distorted lies ever published against the state of Israel in the modern press. The opinion piece is based on testimonies gathered in the Israeli-occupied West Bank from 14 men and women who said that they had been sexually assaulted by Israeli settlers or members of the security forces. The New York Times says that any legal claim over the opinion column lacks merit. In your weather, a partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 6 and 8 degrees and highs of between 23 and 25.
In the traffic, be aware of faulty traffic lights in Lone Hill at Main and Lone Hill, in Woodmead at Woodmead and Woodlands, as well as in Kyalami at the R55 and Kenilworth.
The top story in EWN, President Cyril Ramaphosa has reiterated his confidence in his decision to deploy soldiers to help police to fight gangs in parts of the country.
Outsurance can't improve your parallel parking skills, but they could improve the car insurance premium you currently pay. Get a quote today, and if Outsurance can't save you money on your car insurance premium, ask for 500 Rand cash. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get a quote and get savings or cash. Either way, you win. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Mzansi, great things can happen when you play Powerball Plus for the mind-blowing 90 million Rand estimated jackpot. While Powerball stands at an estimated 85 million Rand jackpot this Friday. That's right. Play Powerball Plus for an estimated 90 million Rand and Powerball for an estimated 85 million Rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. eTuba is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Doing your famous through meetings, in traffic, at the store. Don't let seasonal hay fever get in the way of a better you. Unite against allergies with Demazin once a day, providing 24-hour non-sedating relief from symptoms like a runny nose, sneezing, and itchy red eyes. Demazin gets it done. Speak to your pharmacist today about Demazin once a day.
It was actually a flawless process. It definitely pays to switch. I wish we had done it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. for beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to OutSurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
For over 4 decades, Exaro and Eskom have powered South Africa together. Now, that partnership grows stronger. Today, catch the Clement Manyatela Show live from the official opening of Exaro's Mine 1 expansion project in Kriel, Mpumalanga. The milestone marks a major investment into a long-term coal supply to Eskom's Matla power station and continued energy generation for millions of people. Don't miss the conversations shaping SA's energy future. That's the Clement Manyatela Show, live from Matla Coal Mine, today with Exaro, powering progress across Africa and beyond on 702.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning and happy Friday, Bongani, to the 702 family. I couldn't agree with your guest more in the sense of it when leadership speaks in a certain manner or they do things, it just ripples down. But what's in you in must come out you out. We as a people, in our own spaces, in our communities, we need to do right by ourselves and for our children. And that is the ultimate for me, to do the right thing and not follow suit in because they do it, now we must do it. And that is where we make the mistake, I think.
Hi, Bongani. I strongly believe that morality still exists, but many capable, virtuous people left leadership after being intimidated, harassed, and fearing for their lives. They were pushed out by the ANC comrade. Because these people, these virtuous people had other options due to their education, they left. The ANC then filled those posts with people who would do as they are told, even if it is wrong. That's why it now looks like there aren't no virtuous people left in power. The ones that are compromised are controlled by the ANC.
Is it about the ANC, though? I mean, is it just about the ANC? What do they say? The fish rots from the head. One of the debates we heard earlier in the week is about the return to work of the suspended Ekurhuleni city manager, who was accused, if you remember. He had a small matter, well, I say small matter, but it's a relatively small matter, right, in the context of what we see people go to court for. It was a speeding fine, right? A 1,000 rand speeding fine, if I remember the number correctly. But he also had a job interview. And now he's accused of having colluded with the Ekurhuleni deputy police chief to hire an impersonator who showed up in court over his traffic violation so that he could go to a job interview. But 400,000 is alleged to have been spent on these two, the impersonator and the person who allegedly arranged it. Now, that's not an ANC, a party thing. There's no party document of any party in South Africa that says, do that. But when an officer wants a bribe at the intersection of whatever and whatever, how surprised should you be when we see the top brass themselves implicated? And equally then, if our political leaders are so regularly implicated in wrongdoing, and at times it would seem get away with it, why wouldn't we, the rest of us, become a corrupt society? Have we lost our public morality? And if so, have we lost it irretrievably? What's your view?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by OutSurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask OutSurance for 500 Rand. We've got David in Centurion. David, please give us today's answer.
Oh, today's answer, Bongani, is 1982.
1982. And tell me, David, are you a member of Outsurance or have you requested a quote?
Yes, I'm a member, Bongani.
Your biscuit. 1,000 Rand is coming your way thanks to Outsurance and 702. There you have it. David says the answer is 1982. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Oh, it's looking good for us, Cindy Paluta, in the second golf major of the year, the PGA Championship.
It is.
South Africans performing well there.
They are indeed, Bongani, and 7 players are leading by 1 after the first round, and it is South African Aldrich Potgieter who sits there with the defending champion Scotty Scheffler in that group on 3 under. Fellow South African Gary Kego also had a great round. He shot a 69. He was 2 off the pace on 1 under. He could have been top, but was penalised 2 strokes for arriving late.
I played great, made a lot of good swings, made some good putts, did everything that I could do. I wouldn't have been late if I knew I was running late. Obviously, this is the first time it's happened, so I wasn't sure quite like what. I mean, I was just happy that they allowed me to tee off firstly, you know what I mean? But I was bummed when he said I had a 2-shot penalty.
Well, number 2, Rory McIlroy with a round he'd rather forget, a disastrous one of 4 over. It's a huge weekend for Orlando Pirates. They'll be crowned champions for the first time in 14 years, ending Sundown's domination if they beat Durban City tomorrow. Hasn't been a great season for Sundowns, who need the Champions League trophy to save pride. They host AS FAR in the first leg of the final on Sunday. Midfielder Jaden Adams.
We need to be better in our own games. I think need to score more goals at home. If you go that side, it's going to be difficult. And you know the North African teams, they very difficult to beat at home. What we can take a positive thing is just to keep playing our game and scoring goals.
Tonight in the Premier League, battle to finish 4th. Aston Villa hosting Liverpool, both teams on 59 points. No league games tomorrow as it's the FA Cup final with City against Chelsea at 4. Last chance to get into the URC playoffs this weekend. The Lions have to beat Munster with a bonus point and hope the Bulls lose to Benetton. Benetton fly half Jacob Umaga suspended for 4 weeks for a dangerous tackle on Mapimpi. The Stormers are second on the table. They already guaranteed a quarterfinal. Have captain Salman Murat back from injury against Cardiff tonight. At the Italian Open, Yannick Sinner beat Rublev 6-2, 6-4 to set up a semi-final with Medvedev. The win is a record 32 consecutive wins at Masters 1000s. The women's final is Goff against Svetlana. Svetlana beat Swiatek 6-4, 2-6 and 6-2. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
I was trying to think this morning that who in the lineup has been here longer than anyone else.
I've been here for 16
you're probably there.
Interesting story. I was watching a game with a friend of mine, and at the same time, I'm listening to David O'Sullivan. So I say to my friend, I can do this. So he says, stop talking, man, and just get on with it. If you think you can do it, do it. So I immediately write to Alistair Teeling-Smith right there and then. Alistair Teeling-Smith says to me, come and see me tomorrow.
Hey,
the next
tomorrow?
day. Tomorrow.
Hey, man.
I arrive at the old studios, and there's Alistair, and he says, what are you doing tonight? So I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing tonight? He says, come, let's try you out.
You basically got a job in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
This week, the pressure in the MasterChef South Africa kitchen. Well, it is going to get home for radio lovers, is it not? Some of the country's most familiar voices step away from the mic and into the dining room as the contestants cook for a room full of radio personalities from around the country. And yes, I was one of them. I was there. So I'll tell you all about it on Monday. I'll let you watch the episode on Sunday. It is, of course, a white apron team challenge. And the guest list, the people who got to taste the food, were the radio people. The contestants were split into teams guided by 2 powerhouse women in food, Sibam Tongana and Nti Ramaboa. And they proved they could cook up a storm. It's episode 13 of MasterChef South Africa this Sunday at 6 p.m. on ETV. You can also stream it on EVOD, or you can watch at watch.evod.co.za.
In unpredictable times, you need a proven approach. Try this. Think of a number between 1 and 10. Add 6. Subtract 3. Now subtract your original number. Got 3? Of course you did, because method is certain. That's predictability. It's consistent, reassuring. It's our disciplined approach delivering real value for you year after year. That's why PSG is proudly predictable. Visit psg.co.za. Affiliates of PSG Financial Services, a licensed controlling company, are authorized financial services providers.
There are moments that don't look significant at first until everything changes because of them. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton, a new podcast exploring real stories of challenge, doubt, and turning points. Because growth doesn't arrive when everything is clear. It arrives when nothing is. Coming soon on primemediaplus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light, therapeutics for the modern mind.
EWN Traffic.
10 to 8, the CWN Traffic brought to you by the House of Citroen. The all-new Citroen Basalt is here. Book a test drive at citroen.co.za. Khumutso?
Thank you, Bongani. If you are traveling in Parktown, traffic is slow on the M1 North. This is from Killarney Bends, with conditions only easing up just after Ethel Oaklands Road. Over on the N1 North, there's also some peak time delays from Bayers Nodia to Winnie Mandela Drive. And in Centurion, traffic remains sluggish. This is on the N1 South between Samrand Road and New Road. Other than that, roads are looking quite good this morning. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The all-new Citroen Basalt is here with keyless entry, wireless Apple and Android CarPlay. It's made to look good and to make life easy. And that 470-litre boot, it's ready for every outfit change and then some. The all-new Citroen Basalt Coupe SUV from 354,000 Rand. Register now for the limited launch deal assist of up to 40,000 Rand. Book a test drive today at citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. The answer is 1982. Let's see who has the answer. Devua in Lenasia, what's the question?
In which year did Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder release their hit song Ebony and Ivory?
Yes, indeed. It was the year of duets for Paul McCartney, because that was also the year he released The Girl Is Mine and Say, Say, Say with Michael Jackson, and, of course, this great classic. Divuo, congratulations. 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. I'm glad we selected that because, KG, we can play it a little bit more. Hey? You robbed us last time.
We all know that people are the same wherever you go. There is good and bad in everyone. And we learn to live, we learn to give each other what we need to survive. Together alive, ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why don't we?
Oh, man. This has to be in my top 3 duets of all time. It has to be there. I would put this, Lionel Richie and Diana Ross's Endless Love, and possibly Luther Vandross.
Oh, I knew you'd say
and
that.
Gregory Hines, There's Nothing Better Than Love. What are your top 3 duet songs? Send us a WhatsApp voice note. This has to feature, or you and I can't be friends. Now, if your mechanic was becoming too expensive, if your friend chose the wrong duet songs, you'd switch, right? So why are you paying more for car insurance? Switching to Outsurance save 35-year-old Zanai a whopping 1,180 on a 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Do it now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
Weekend Breakfast with Googs Mshungu.
702 Weekend Breakfast is about switching gears after what's usually a very busy week. We keep you informed, we keep you on trend, what's happening, what's new, what's delicious, what's fascinating, and keep you company as you rest at the end of the week. What I love most about the 702 family and 702 land is we're this interesting motley crew of people, this diverse group of people from all over the country, all over the world, and we all come together, and it makes for this interesting, fascinating family. And I don't think you can find a more diverse, interested, or more engaged listenership than people who are part of the 702 family and 702 land. And so they listen to us to be their guide to the weekend because they trust Weekend Breakfast.
702 Weekend Breakfast with Googs Mshungu from 6 to 10 a.m.
May is Africa Month, and Season 5 of R&B Africa Focus is here. This season, you'll hear on-the-ground perspectives from R&B's experts across the continent. We'll unpack what's driving growth, opportunities where they emerge, and how businesses can stay competitive in a changing global environment. We'll feature insights from Namibia, Botswana, Nigeria, South Africa, and even China. There's also an in-depth video series with new episodes released weekly, which you can watch on primemediaplus.com. It's all brought to you by R&B, a leading African corporate and investment bank.
Hi South Africa, I'm Michael Owen. If you appreciate world-class sport and a great occasion, the Hollywood Bets Durban July is the place to be. The theme for 2026 is Country Allure, which sees the rustic style of the countryside meet the cosmopolitan cool of the city. On Saturday the 4th of July, it all comes together at Hollywood Bets Greyville, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event. I'll see you there.
The world is moving fast. Consumer mindsets and preferences are changing in real time. AI is creating new rules and timelines are shorter than ever. At Plus 94 Research, we help leaders reduce uncertainty. We deliver authentic, real-time data grounded in proven methodologies and powered by relevant, cutting-edge technology. So when decisions can't wait, you move forward with clarity, confidence, and impact. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
702
702. What's gone viral?
with Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela, is this a unicorn?
Well, this is what the women are saying. And then the men have their views as well. So I'm going to paraphrase what this woman wrote on X. Basically, she had a date. She cancelled on the date because she wasn't feeling well, and she decided to tell him the truth. Her period had started and she was feeling uncomfortable, and even putting on jeans felt unreasonable. So she assumed after she had cancelled with the guy that they would just reschedule. So a couple of minutes later, she got a text from him saying, "Listen, do you mind if I stop by for a minute?" So she said yes. After a while, he showed up at her house, and in his hands, he had ice cream and chocolate. He gave her the bag, gave her a hug, and he said she hopes she feels better. And he then didn't have any expectation to, for her to invite him in and to entertain him. He just left and left, and went on his merry way. And she sort of stood there with those bags in hand and was kind of like emotional and felt, oh, this is such a wonderful thing. And she then goes on to say that is the bar so low that a man showing up with basic thoughtfulness can feel genuinely shocking. That's how she ends it. So
how to ruin that?
Well, this is why it's quite controversial in a way, right? So most of the women are saying, well, sure, that's a unicorn. That doesn't happen often. Many men are coming onto the post and saying, well, they've done these things. They've showed up. They've been thoughtful. They've been caring. And it was just thrown in their faces. And I will never do it again. So, you could take away from this that each of us in relationships, and, you look at it, it's maybe not your person. And that person will either emotionally scar you, and then you go on to the next relationship, and you may have done thoughtful things in the previous one, but now the next one you think, well, it was unappreciated, I'm not going to do it again. And therefore you then hurt the next person, and on the cycle goes. Until maybe You find the person and the two of you just click and the thoughtfulness comes back, etc., etc., etc. So, after all that long discussion, let's find out from people, what is the most thoughtful thing that somebody has done for you in the early stages of dating? And you thought to yourself, that is just the most wonderful thing. Or, she made me feel like a king.
All right. And when is it thoughtful and when is it love bombing, hey?
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Khumuto?
Thank you, Bongs. Because I'll be back in just a bit, I will tell you of just the M1 North. If you're heading towards Melrose, expect heavy delays there from Killarney Bends due to an accident just before Athol Oaklands. Other than that, I'll be back with more in just a bit.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Pointsmen can't help with your child's school project, but they can help you get to the stationery shop in time. Seeing them on your route just makes you feel better. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so everyone gets to where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online using hashtag PointsmenLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
Kabazela wants to know the nicest, most thoughtful thing someone has done for you in the early stages of dating. I want to know, when is it thoughtful? When is it love bombing? And your reactions to our After 7 conversation. Are we losing our public morality? And if so, has it been or has it become irretrievable? Time now for the latest eyewitness news, brought to you by Momentum. Financial advisors help you get a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor. Momentum is a part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Fourth suspect in Mpumalanga extortion case to join Joe Sibanyoni in court, and Sergeant Faninkosi slapped with additional charges. Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. EWN has reliably learnt that a fourth suspect wanted in connection with the high-profile money laundering and extortion case has handed himself over to authorities. The unidentified man joins taxi tycoon Joe Sibanyoni and his two co-accused who were arrested earlier this week. The three made their first appearance before the Kwaggafontein Magistrates Court on Wednesday, with the matter postponed to today for a formal bail application. Mongezi Gogo reports.
Police launched their investigation in November last year after a Mpumalanga-based businessman accused the group of allegedly extorting millions of rands from him over a number of years. Sibanyoni, Mvimbi Daniel Masilela and Philemon Msiza appeared in the dock, facing charges of extortion and money laundering. The group is expected back before the same court today, this time with a fourth suspect now formally joining the case. It is unclear whether the National Prosecuting Authority intends to add further charges as investigations continue. Mongezi Gogo, Eyewitness News.
Suspended Organised Crime Unit member Sergeant Faninkosi has been slapped with additional charges by the Madlanga Commission Investigative Task Team. The Defeating the Ends of Justice charges relate to a 2022 case from Thohoyandou in Limpopo. In the matter, a suspect was arrested for possession of dacha, unlicensed firearms and explosives. Police say Nkosi pretended to be a colonel from the SAPS head office and went to fetch the docket from the local police station and removed the confiscated dacha from police custody. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate says Nkosi is expected to appear in court today to face the charges.
He later booked in the exhibit at head office, but it was later discovered that one of the exhibit bag containing the dacha was tampered with. A case of defeating and or obstructing the course of justice has been registered for investigation.
The Madlanga Commission will hear an application today by a controversial Northwest businessman, Brown Mokgotsi, to have the inquiry's chief evidence leader recused from cross-examining him. Mokgotsi has filed a complaint against the Commission's Matthew Chaskelson, accusing him of bias. Thabiso Koba reports.
Brown Mokgotsi's complaint makes a number of serious allegations against chief evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson. He accuses Chaskelson of having a personal vendetta against him and trying to portray him as a dishonest witness. He also claims that Chaskelson manipulated evidence and offered him protection in exchange for implicating another ANC-linked Northwest businessman, Suleiman Karim. Eyewitness News understands Chaskelson aims to oppose Mokgotsi's recusal application. Mokgotsi is due to return to the Madlanga Commission at a later date for further cross-examination. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
A case of culpable homicide has been opened against a Johannesburg Metro Police officer. It's alleged that the officer struck a 23-year-old woman with his vehicle and fled the scene earlier this week. It's believed the victim was returning home from work and walking in the Morford View area in the south of Johannesburg. JMPD spokesperson Xolani Fihla says the matter is being investigated by IPID.
Internally, there hasn't been a case been opened. We're just investigating the matter at the present moment. The officer is still at work, but criminally, a case of culpable homicide has been opened at the SAPS, but then the case has now been handed over to IPID.
And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to begin his 5-nation tour in the United Arab Emirates today before heading to Europe. The 6-day trip comes after India and the European Union sealed a free trade agreement in January. It will include visits to the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway and Italy. But the tour is being overshadowed by energy and supply chain worries due to the war in the Middle East. Disruptions around Gulf shipping routes and the Strait of Hormuz continue to drive volatility in oil and gas markets, increasing pressure on energy importing economies, including India. Gold is trading at $4,612.54 an ounce. The rand is at 16.53 to the dollar, 22.13 to the pound, 19.29 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $107.05 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you're in Germiston, you can still expect some slight delays on the N3 North going towards the Geldenhuys interchange, and the R18 in Pretoria is also still experiencing some delays as you head towards Eskom-Pahlele Drive.
And in your sport, Orlando Pirates must beat Durban City tomorrow to guarantee a long-awaited league win. Premier League action tonight. Liverpool are away at Aston Villa. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler sits top of the PGA Championship with Aldrich Porchetta, as world number 2 McIlroy is 6 off the pace. And crunch time in the URC with the Lions and Bulls fighting for playoff spots.
A partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. Lows of between 6 and 8 degrees and highs of between 23 and 25. The top story in EWN. We have reliably learned that a 4th suspect wanted in connection with a high-profile money laundering and extortion case has now handed himself over to the police.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 after 8 on this Friday. It's mid-month. It's the 14th of May, 15th of May, the year of our Lord 2026. EWN telling us they've learned that a 4th suspect wanted in connection with a high-profile money laundering and extortion case has now handed himself over to the police. This is now a suspect who joins the taxi tycoon Joe Sibanyoni and his 2 co-accused who were arrested earlier in the week. So that's a developing story. Stay listening to the radio. We'll certainly give you details of that as they unfold. You remember, of course, the suspended Organized Crime Unit member, Sergeant Faninkosi, who was testifying at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Well, additional charges being laid on him by that commission's investigative task team. And I was asking the question yesterday, I think it was, that are these officers, is your impression that they just genuinely are incompetent? Some of those who've answered questions and tried to squirm and wiggle out of them. Is it your impression that they are genuinely incompetent, unable to do their jobs, out of their depth? Or is that a strategy to appear so that even if they get into trouble, the impression is that they were naive rather than that they're actually incompetent and don't know what they're doing? I mean, just have a listen. I played it earlier in case you missed it. This is an exchange, and you tell me if you can make sense of what is being said here.
This tall one, Mashaba was a bit taller than, he's saying this tall one, is keeping everybody at toes. Was Burvai. That is what he was saying, because Jolene could also say a bit of Zulu word and Afrikaans, because that is then I understand, no man, that cannot be the behavior.
Yeah, ne? Make of that what you will. This is the Hawks Lieutenant Colonel Ngwana Joseph Sibola continuing his testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, telling the commission that several officials, including one traffic inspector, one Samuel Mashaba, that they gave contradictory events of the day. There was, of course, that drug bust with narcotics that was seized as officers tried to leave the site with them illegally.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Topping the charts on this day, 1982, Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney's Ebony and Ivory has to be in my top 3 of all-time favorite duets, I said. I would throw in there Diana Ross and Lionel Richie for Endless Love.
Okay, yeah.
And probably Luther Vandross and Gregory Hines, There's Nothing Better Than Love. I'm also thinking, though, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, Shallow, from A Star Is Born.
Beautiful.
Your list, Ray?
Oh, I probably only have 2 or 3. I think Whitney Houston has to be there.
With whom? It's a duet.
It's a duet.
So who's she singing with?
She was. I have to think, though. Okay, all right.
You're not much of a music person.
Not
your thing.
Not this morning, really, no.
Any songs come to mind?
Don't Judge Me, but Kelvin Momo and Babalwa M, always a great duet. And then Dave Koz and BB Winans, The Dance.
The Day. The Dance.
And I think definitely Luther and Mariah Carey.
Their version of Endless Love.
Yes, I like their version, actually. I said Don't Judge Me.
I love Luther.
But not that one?
No. Diana Ross and Lionel, the original. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. Happy Friday. My favorite duet has to be a local song, Chandi Swamazwai, featuring the late Tate Teposola. The song is called Ndilinde. Yeah, this is Papa from Tembisa. Have a great Friday, and also wishing you and the team a great weekend.
Hi, Bongani. I only have top 1 best duets of all times, and that's Rod Stewart and Amy Bell. The song, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, come on, I can't get over that song. Never. I don't have number 2, number 3, I only have number 1.
Bongs. Another beautiful duet is by Craig David and Sting in the song Rise and Fall. Thanks, Suchap.
My top 3 duets would be Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross, Just Say. James Ingram and Perry Austin, How Do You Keep the Music Playing? Then lastly, I'd put in the Endless Love of Diana Ross and Lionel Richie.
So Bongani, on our top 3 duets, just to clarify, I like techno and house music. I do not like pop music and I don't like old school pop music and duets. But I love, to all the girls I've loved before, Julio Iglesias and Willie Nelson. I don't know why I have such a soft spot for that song. That's my number one. I don't care about the other two.
Oh, Julio for me is with Stevie Wonder, My Love.
Oh, that's good.
Patty Austin and James Ingram. Surely that song has to be, that duo has to be Baby Come to Me.
I have one. I
Yeah?
have one. Don't you lot laugh at me now. I'm watching you. Bono and Luciano Pavarotti, Miss Sarajevo. What a
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful song.
Yes. Barcelona, Freddie Mercury
There we
and
go. Maria Gabriel, the blah, blah, blah.
that
Yes.
opera lady.
Nice.
Kabazela wants to know the most thoughtful gesture somebody has made in the early stages of dating. If you missed it, the video or the post is about a woman who was meant to go on an early date with this fella. She was in terrible distress because it was that time of the month, and she decided to tell him the truth, that she couldn't make it because she was not comfortable. He shows up at the house with chockies and ice cream and says, "Get better," and leaves. She then goes and posts, how low is the bar for dating these days that something like that would seem extraordinary? I think it was extraordinary. But how low is the bar in these streets? Tembile in Glen Vista?
Hey, Bongani, hi.
Hi,
Hey,
Tembile.
well,
Go ahead. Tell us your story.
Feeling so emotional, actually. I think it was probably 3 months after we were dating, who then later became my husband. I was supposed to work on weekends, and he didn't. And I had to take my car back to the bank for, X ... reasons. And so on Saturday, I was supposed to be at work at 6:30. At 6 a.m. that morning, without warning me, he rocked up and he left his vehicle. And he said, "Go to work, babes, and I'll fetch it later when you knock off." I was in disbelief, total disbelief.
Wow.
I was so moved, but that's just
Tembile.
one of the good things that he did.
I have to
He
ask you
used
for
to
another
do-
because that is so awesome. I mean, wow, did he beat that?
Oh man, so many, eh? And I think it was mid-year, but that very end of the year, he bought me a watch, and no one had ever bought me a watch in my life, or a gift, or I don't know. There's just so many. Like weekend to a lodge in Mpumalanga later when we were married, and then
I
he
want to
set
marry
up-
him, Tembile.
and then he sets up and overlooking the mountain. They set up there for you for your anniversary, and they put the gazebo, and then they bring lunch, and then he gives you a gold necklace. Oh my God! Oh, he was one of the best. But anyway, sadly he's passed on. But yeah.
Oh no, Tembile.
Oh no!
Break our hearts. Oh my goodness,
But
I'm so sorry
gosh,
for your
I think
loss.
about him every day of my life, eh?
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
probably never get married again, hey Tembile.
Never ever.
Yeah, no, I don't see
They
it.
say don't say never, but I will.
Yeah, I don't see it. Thank you for sharing your story and condolences from the rest of us. I mean, the bar is low. That's out of the ordinary.
That's amazing.
Right, Khomutso?
It
For some of
is.
us, it's,
I'm sorry.
it's
I'm
like, does he have a job?
so romantic.
Does he have his own place?
Will he respond in time?
You know,
Oh, sweet
will
Jesus.
he text back?
Hi, Bongani. It's always from Alberton. My husband now, we've been together for 10 years. In the first 3 months of our dating, he actually joined a weekend fun run with me and aerobics. And he's not even that type of person. He just plays soccer, but aerobics and fun walks are not his thing. But he was there, and I felt so seen, and that he was so romantic that he would just put himself out there for me. And yeah, we've been together for 10 years now, and I still love him very much.
Oh, yeah, ne? Archie, you're in Woodmead. Your favorite duet?
Hello, Bongani. My favorite duet will have to be Dr. Oliver Mtugozi and Brayu Masekela. Can I rendition it a little bit?
Hello, Ndombazan.
No, not that one.
Not that one.
There's this other one. They say, kubata musoro kubata musana pakati pemhandara wapera wapera. I like that song.
My mistake, Archie. You're absolutely right. I was thinking of Oliver Mtukudzi and Ringo. I think that's the song I had in my head.
Yes.
I was singing the wrong one. Right, great call.
Good morning, Bongs. 702 lenders. My top on the list for the duet is Kenny Rogers and Sheena Easton. We've got tonight. That's my best. Nose.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. I think the best duet ever is Dennis Lascelles and
Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson. It's mine, Bongani, along with a few of the other ones you said. Karen, cheers.
Karen.
Good morning, Bongani. Ringo Madlingozi and Oliver Mtukudzi in Toyami. Best duet ever. Thanks.
Yes, we agree on that one. Karen, I was thinking of Barbara Streisand has an album called Duets, and you got to hear the song she sings with John Legend.
Oh, wow.
John Legend on that album. A Kenny Rogers duet, for me, it has to be with Dolly Parton.
Islands in the Stream.
Yeah, but I also like We've Got Tonight.
We've Got Tonight. Oh, I love that.
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Good morning, Bongani Tato from Brits. Bongani, last night my daughter said something so profound, and she asked me, would we be moral if we had not been taught according to the Bible? And it's something that stuck with me, because now you ask him public morality, but where's the morality that you are just born with, the human element that is within you? The things that have been normalized in our country is crazy, scary. We see people that are implicated that shouldn't be implicated, that we look up to, that we consider moral upstanding, and they're not. It's scary.
Good morning, Bongani. We have completely lost morality. We have completely lost it. In this country, in the world, there is no consideration for the next person. Just yesterday, my parents, elderly couple of 65 and above, went to finalize their rough claims and get their money back, only to find out that the lawyer that was helping them has taken the money and ran. The money was actually paid out earlier, and now nothing. Nothing. There is no morality in this country anymore. People are genuinely out for their own self.
Morning, Bongani. This lack of morality, unethical behavior is not only with the ruling party. It seems like every leadership and leadership position at many institutions, be it non-governmental, be it higher education, you name it, it seems that this has infected every one of that leadership.
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we be struggling with these issues if you look at some of the difficulties? We've spoken just this week as an example about law enforcement. We've certainly spoken about our politics, academia. There are so many examples where our public morality is lacking. Have we lost it irretrievably?
EWN Traffic
update 22 after 8. Khomotso, you've been seeing some issues. In Olivenhout-Bosch, for example, have those been resolved?
Bongs, yes, those have been resolved. But if you are still in Centurion, there is traffic pressure on the N14 North. This is as you get closer to Jean Avenue. Not quite sure what's happening there, but maybe you can come and confirm with me, please. If you are heading towards Melrose, anticipate slight delays on the M1 North. This is between Killarney Bends and Ethel Oaklands. The N1 North continues to experience some of those peak time delays. This is from Beyers Naudé to Winnie Mandela Drive. Also look out for faulty traffic lights in Linksfield at the N3 North and Linksfield, and Randburg Johannesburg at the N1 South in Malibongwe, as well as in Fourways at Cedar and Fourways Boulevard. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702, The World View
With Adam Gilchrist.
Catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. Adam, of course, one of the big international stories. Certainly, Xi Jinping and Donald Trump. Is it a bromance? Is it flattery? Is it just fanfare?
There was a warm hand on the arm. There was plenty of talk of Donald Trump saying to Xi, "You're a great leader. I say it to everyone." There were, as you say, trumpets, fanfares, a parade, children waving Chinese and American flags in a turn up. There's always that soft side to a state visit, of course. Today is the second day of that state visit. So far, a lot of warm plaudits, given that Donald Trump once said that China continued to rape America, that it had ripped off the United States like no one ever before. At one stage, they were exchanging 100% tariffs on each other's goods, or at least they were talking about that. Whether they actually technically happened is another matter. He also at one stage said that COVID was all China's fault and they would have to pay. It's different. It's not the big stick policy anymore. It's very much the softer side of Donald Trump, which is harder to read. But here's a big one. I mean, obviously they're there to talk trade, and America and China talking trade means that probably you and I will have to pay something at some point. But the big one is the suggestion from Donald Trump that Xi Jinping will help with the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and therefore begin to free up the world's oil and cargo and everything else. Well, in exchange for what? And according to one US correspondent, possibly in exchange for America backing away from so much support for Taiwan. That's a bit of a worry, particularly if you're Taiwanese.
I was just thinking, as you are saying that, Adam, if the Chinese were to apply the kind of pressure to Taiwan that we have seen from the US in Cuba, I wonder how things would look. Tell us the latest from Havana.
There certainly is pressure on Taiwan, you're right. But yeah, the kind of pressure applied by America to Cuba is telling. So this oil embargo, they first removed Venezuelan oil, remember that, and then any other oil. And so Cuba has now, according to its own energy minister, Vicente de la Oleve, although technically speaking, he's a no energy minister at the moment, he says they have completely run out of diesel and fuel oil. There are apparently small amounts of gas available, but most electricity power grids are not going to be powered by gas, including in Cuba. Their entire energy system is in a critical state, according to Oleve, partly because of the American oil embargo. Scattered protests have taken place, particularly in Havana, because of the power cuts. I mean, we've all, had power cuts in our time, haven't we? But 22 hours a day are the blackouts now in Havana, and worse in other parts of Cuba. So be quick. If you've got 2 hours of electricity, stick the kettle on, but it doesn't really help. Plus, cars, buses, trucks, you name it, they've got nothing or next to nothing to run on. So there's nothing going anywhere, really. The US has made an offer. $100 million in aid, which frankly is a bit of a drop in the ocean, but okay, $100 million of aid in exchange for, quote, meaningful reforms to Cuba's communist system. It's not exactly subtle, is it, as offers go?
Yeah, let's talk about the World Cup, Adam. I mean, if any international player after the last World Cup thought they were done with playing in extraordinary heat, well, think again.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because here we go, in the US, Canada and Mexico. And although I suppose Canada, you don't always think of it being that hot, but it can get pretty warm in sort of June, July. But I think it's particularly in the southern United States and Mexico. And now we've had World Cups in Mexico before. Mexico 1970, 1986, the USA in 94, Brazil in 2014, when there was indeed an issue of exhaustion and dehydration. It got built up a bit beforehand. Maybe there were a few tabloid newspapers who got a bit carried away. Remember the snakes at the South African World Cup? It was a load of nonsense, as it turns out. Of course it was. But This time, we're talking about a group of health, climate, and sports performance scientists who are saying, hang on a moment, FIFA, this isn't just throw a World Cup and it'll be fine. There are 3-minute cooling breaks built into each half of each match, but that's not good enough, say the experts. In this day and age as well, there's a kind of extra duty of care thing. You can't just send Bobby Charlton out and hope for the best and hope he doesn't die of exhaustion. Does FIFA care would be the issue. And they're saying you need to care and you need to do more, not just for players, but for fans too. Not that any of us, of course, can afford to go.
What is football turning into cricket? Breaking for tea? Will they? Adam Gilchrist with this morning's
Nice idea.
EWN Business.
All right, Ray White, let's stick to Donald Trump. He's, of course, hailed a Chinese deal with Boeing, but it hasn't stopped the shares from falling.
You know how he always starts, this is the best deal ever, the best deal you've ever seen. Well, it wasn't actually, I'm afraid, because China has agreed to buy 200 Boeing jets. Well, US President Donald Trump has hailed this as a breakthrough in talks in Beijing. But reports say the number is far fewer than what analysts had expected, and the plane makers' shares have fallen as a result. Details of the deal were not immediately available, including when and which type of jets would be delivered. But the amount was much smaller than the roughly 500 planes that sources told Reuters was under discussion ahead of a meeting.
And this isn't the only big deal that the US is trying to broker in China. That plane, Air Force One, full of business titans coming along with Trump.
That's the whole thing as well. I mean, you've seen what's happened there, and they've got that H-200 ship. That's been the big thing. China's also agreed to buy oil from the US, which is major. But the US has cleared around 10 Chinese firms to buy NVIDIA's second most powerful AI chip, the H-200. CEO Jensen Huang has been seeking a breakthrough in China this week. Now, Huang, who was not initially listed to join the trip to Beijing, was added at the last minute. And I love this. Trump picked him up in Alaska en route to the summit. Imagine that. The president's here for you. You just climb on the big jumbo.
Let's talk about the markets.
Well, the Nikkei's down today, down 1.72%. The Hang Seng also losing 0.8%. US shares have rallied, though, in sharp contrast. The S&P and Dow up around 0.7%. This is because of AI chips, and there's this AI frenzy at the moment. Now, because of what's happening in Beijing and also that, the dollar has strengthened. Our rand is now 16.63. It was 16.45 on Monday, so that's not great. Then 22.19, that's the pound, 19.36 to the euro. Platinum, $2,006.57. Gold's of $4,576.50. Brent crude oil is now $107.68. Stephen Protus will have more business this afternoon.
And Ray, as you go away for this weekend, here's one. Why did the bread flatter the man?
Why?
It was complimentary. Bali Vamini, are you keeping a straight face? Good morning again.
I'm trying really, really hard. Thanks, Bongani. A very good morning. The family of the mother and child that died after being run over by a car transporting Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has reiterated it doesn't blame anyone for the tragic accident. On Saturday evening, 37-year-old Beauty Shoperai died along with her 1-year-old son, who she was carrying on her back after they were hit by the minister's car while trying to cross the N1 highway near Bilabela in Limpopo. Shoperai was trying to get to her husband, who had died in a similar fashion just a few minutes earlier on the same route. Motsoaledi is set to visit the family today to pay his respects. Family spokesperson Robson Masunda.
The minister is welcome. He's 100% welcome. We don't have any grief with the minister because he didn't cause the accident. And this accident is just happening like any other accidents. The accident is not planned that tomorrow this accident must cause the accident. It's just an accident which is really happened at that time, you see.
The Commission of Inquiry into TRC cases will now run until December after President Cyril Ramaphosa granted yet another extension. The Commission approached the President with a request following delays caused by several applications. The TRC Cases Commission is investigating the reasons behind why perpetrators of apartheid-era crimes who are not granted amnesty by the TRC have not been prosecuted. Khomotso Modise reports.
The TRC Cases Inquiry Body was established in May last year and was given 6 months to submit a report to President Cyril Ramaphosa. But a year later, the Commission has not completed its work. The Commission has faced a pushback and poor cooperation even from state entities, with some refusing to provide required documents and statements. The Commission has also had recusal applications against the chief evidence leader, Advocate Ishmael Semenya, and against the chair, retired Justice Sisi Khampepe, by former President Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki, which were rejected. The former presidents escalated their bid to remove Khampepe to the High Court, which was also dismissed. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says Ramaphosa has considered the Commission's request.
President Ramaphosa has given the Commission until the 18th of December this year to submit its final report.
Meanwhile, the hearings continue. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News.
And the city of Cape Town says the recent heavy downpours have pushed the metro's dam levels to around 60%. Our reporter Camry Clark takes a look.
The city of Cape Town says dam levels have increased by just over 12.4% since last week. The metro's total capacity is at 61.2%. At the same time, it says overall consumption has decreased by 43 megalitres per day, from 874 to 831 megalitres per day. This is 29 megalitres under the city's daily winter usage target. The storms have also triggered a major humanitarian effort to respond to about 85,000 people affected by the inclement weather. Officials say 22,000 dwellings were impacted over the past week. At least 9 fatalities have been reported. Camry Clark, Eyewitness News.
In your weather, a partly cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 23 and 25 degrees.
In the traffic, look out for faulty traffic lights in Bryanston on Main and Peter Place, and in Sandton and Greyston Drive and Rivonia Road.
The top story in EWN, the family of the mother and child that died after being run over by a vehicle transporting the health minister, has reiterated they do not blame anyone for the tragic accident.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Judgment handed down in the Pietermaritzburg High Court, and the NPA winning that attempt to block Jacob Zuma and French arms company Thales from further delaying the 1999 arms deal case. So we've got a trial date, also a duration of the trial. That's crucial. Let's see if this actually happens.
Good afternoon, man. Yeah, you don't know Jacob Zuma and Dalimpoff. You don't know these guys. They will find a loophole there to appeal.
Zuma needs to pay for what he's done to our country. And our judicial system must work more expeditiously and do what needs to be done in a righteous manner.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
If your medical aid was becoming too expensive, you'd switch, right? So why pay more for car insurance? Switching to Outsurance saved 27-year-old Liam an awesome 640 Rand on his 2020 Ford Ranger. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Do it now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
It's that time of the year. Sore throats, congestion, wet and dry coughs, pain and fever. For trusted relief for you and your family, ask your pharmacist to recommend a winter survival pack from the Adcock Ingram OTC range. With products like Medikil A, Expigen, Corenza Paracy, Adconapamol, Dilinct Junior and more, we have you covered this winter. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
Mzansi, great things can happen when you play Powerball Plus for the mind-blowing 90 million Rand estimated jackpot, while Powerball stands at an estimated 85 million Rand jackpot this Friday. That's right, play Powerball Plus for an estimated 90 million Rand and Powerball for an estimated 85 million Rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is a proud operator of the National Lottery.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi. It's Joburg. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
702. WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani. You know, morality in South Africa is voting an incompetent councillor in, voting an MP in, and voting an incompetent leader in a prominent position, and still celebrate those people and hold them up high, expecting them to change for some reason, and hold the constitution up high. Which morality in South Africa has lost direction, morality itself has lost morality in South Africa. That's how far we've gotten into the loss of morality within the country. We no longer have patriotism within the country in that state being held high. We need more from our leaders.
Bongani and the team. Isn't that our problem, Bongani? Is always that whenever there is corruption, we blame the ANC, which is an organization, and we ignore the fact that some of these people within the ANC are our brothers and sisters. So until we change that narrative, Bongani, we won't eradicate corruption. David in Parkwood.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's simplistic to blame the ANC. How many people buy stolen goods, stolen electronics? How many people know who sells them and where they got them from, who don't report it? We're all involved. And I'm asking you, what do we do to get that morality back?
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, in case you missed it, the front page of today's Sowetan has fans of which club in their full regalia, and the headline says Sekusele kancane with me, which means just a little left to go.
So I read that as Sekusele kancane.
No.
Kancane.
No. Kancane.
So what does it mean?
It means just a little more to go.
Okay, so kancane means just a little bit to go.
Kancane means a little bit left.
Kancane. Okay. Which is exactly it. And I'm actually quite surprised by how quiet the Orlando Pirates fans are this morning. But I'm thinking maybe there's anticipation.
You want to be arrogant?
Yes, exactly. So it's a huge weekend for Orlando Pirates. If they beat Durban City tomorrow, they'll be crowned league champions for the first time in 14 years, ending Sundowns' domination. But they will only be receiving their trophy after the Orbit College game next week.
Yeah, I mean, Sundowns, was it last year? They did it with 4 games to go.
Yeah. So speaking of Sundowns, their league is done and they have to win the CAF Champions League to salvage some silverware this season. They host AS FAR in the first leg of the final on Sunday. Midfielder Jaden Adams admits fatigue is creeping in.
For me, personally, I got the rest because of the red card. I think the other players, I think they're struggling. You can see in the games, like close to the 90th minute, you can see the guys are struggling. But yeah, we have to push. That's what Sundowns do, play a lot of games maybe in 1 week. So yeah, we're pushing.
Tonight in the Premier League, Aston Villa host Liverpool, both teams on 59 points, fighting to finish fourth. No league games tomorrow as it's the FA Cup final with Manchester City against Chelsea at 4. On Sunday, United host Nottingham Forest in the battle to avoid relegation, West Ham away at Newcastle. In golf, 7 players lead by 1 after the first round of the PGA Championship. South African Eldrick Potgieter is in a group on 3 under. Garrick Higgo's 2 off the pace on 1 under. Higgo could have been top but was penalised 2 strokes for arriving late. World number 2 Rory McIlroy had a disastrous round. He finished 4 over.
I started missing fairways. Yeah, from there it's hard. I didn't have great angles either. And then obviously you start missing it just off the edges of these greens. It gets tricky. So I felt like I did okay. made that birdie on 5 to get back to even par after the soft bogey on 4, and then just got on that bogey train at the end.
United Rugby Championship action tonight. Stormers, the quarterfinal spot guaranteed, will be led by Nettling for Sheer away at Cardiff, replacing injured Dion Fourie. Salman Murat, back from injury, will start on the bench. It's the last group game, so crunch time for the Lions tomorrow against Munster and the Bulls, who host Benetton. And Italian Open tennis today, the men's semi-final, Ruud against Alderi. Tonight it'll be Sinner playing Medvedev. Tomorrow the women's final is Coco Gauff against Svetlana. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
17 minutes before 9 o'clock. Let's wrap up the morning's traffic.
Thank you, Bongs. If you're traveling in Roodepoort at this hour, there has been an accident on Hendrik Potgieter and it is causing some delays. This is between Peter Road and Johann Street. Over in Boysens, give yourself some time for those persisting rush hour delays on the M1 North as you head towards the Crown Interchange with about a 20-minute hold up. And if you are heading towards Melrose, also anticipate slight delays on the M1 North. This is from Killarney Bens to Ethel Oaklands Road. If you come across any other traffic on your side, please do send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Tax deadlines don't have to result in penalties. With the 31 May employer submission deadline approaching, avoid lastminute.com. Submit your accurate employer reconciliation declaration, EMP 501, on time using EasyFile or e-filing. Employers, make your tax matters your priority number 1. Submit by 31 May 2026. Go to sars.gov.za. SARS, at your service.
Bafana have made it to the world stage and 10bet is their proud official betting partner. You can back them in every game with the best odds at 10bet. Believe in our boys and they will show up. Back them on 10bet. Bet now at 10bet.co.za. 10bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Joburg winter is creeping in. The mornings are colder, the scarves are back, and suddenly getting out of bed feels like an extreme sport. So why not follow the sun? Swap the chill for warm Durban beaches, island time in Mauritius, turquoise waters in Zanzibar, or even a European summer with a vibe. Wherever the sunshine is calling, Flight Centre will help you get there. Visit your nearest Flight Centre store or flightcentre.co.za to start planning. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Good morning, Bongani. So I am a mom, full-time employed, and an MBA candidate. So I really don't have time for TV, but when I bath, I'll watch Skin Sam. So that's like my bath time, relaxation. Only TV time I have is Skin Sam. So yeah, there is still room for one soapy in my life, and Skin Sam I do not miss.
Morning, Bongs. To be honest, I think I stopped watching when the River and the Queen ended. I still say to date that was the best. That was the best we've produced in a long time. I don't think anything else beats the Ferguson production, the River and the Queen.
What was the one that had Vatiswa Ndaga, where she was playing Unomarashia? Would that even qualify as a soapy? We're talking, of course, about the end of Scandal on ETV, which will end at the end of next month in June. I think the 26th of June is their last episode. And I was asking, who still watches these things? Who still watches soapies? But that voice note there talking about Ferguson Productions, I certainly loved that one with Vatiswa Ndaga playing Nomarashi. I just can't, for the life of me, remember what it was called. It also had Umamnomhlenkonyeni. So that was obviously a very, very good one. I can't remember what it was called. It didn't last very long, but I thought that was quite good.
Morning, Bongani and team. Anonymous here, Pretoria. My favorite duo is George Michael and Miss Aretha Franklin. I knew you were waiting.
Yes, I like their version actually.
Hi, Bongs. Loretta here. I think the greatest duet has to be by Whitney Houston and Teddy Pendergrass, hold me in your arms. Thanks very much. Bye.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
Sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it. Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan, driven to evolve.
Hi, this is Anlia Itzebet, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Toyota sending the Automobile Association a letter demanding they cease and desist from claiming that the Toyota Starlet got a 0-star rating from NCAP.
We're definitely not backing down on that one. That we acknowledge that the vehicle that we tested was since revised in September of 25. But when we ran the Starlet in our program, it was the model that was on sale at the time when we bought the vehicle.
Bobby Ramagwede is the CEO at the Automobile Association.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Business Banking, featuring the AgriTrends 2026 Autumn Edition. In agriculture, smart moves need smart insights. Get the latest AgriTrends report at absaagritrends.co.za. ABSA is a registered FSP.
coming up
On the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Between 9 and 12, Clement Manyatela, I believe you're in Mpumalanga. What brings you there and what's on the show?
Well, we are live from Kriel in Mpumalanga today. We're at the Matla coal mine. This is Exaro's mine, and we're celebrating the expansion of Matla mine, which really marks a major investment in the country's energy future. Eskom has actually signed a 17-year extension on a coal agreement with Exaro, and it's had a huge socio-economic impact in the communities surrounding. So we'll tell you more about this expansion project, but also how it's going to contribute towards our energy needs. We've got the ministers of electricity, of mineral energy as well, who are here. We'll speak to them. That's what we're going to do throughout the show. But on the open line, we will reflect, of course, on what happened yesterday with President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision on Sisisi Tolashe. And then at 10 o'clock, we do our Across the Desk feature. And today I'm hosting Women in Mining, seeing that we're in a mining town of Creole. And then we wrap up the show at 11 o'clock with our relationship feature. Today we're discussing how to reignite erotic energy in long-term relationships.
Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
702.
This weekend.
The thunder of galloping hooves, the elegance of high fashion, luxury hospitality. Yes, the Nedbank International Polo is coming back, once again preparing to captivate South Africa and the world with the 2026 edition, set, of course, against the iconic backdrop of the Inanda Club. This year's spectacle promises far more than just a world-class polo showdown between South Africa and the US. It is also a celebration, I would say, of African excellence, prestige, culture, and sporting passion. Joining us now is Kensani Nobanda, who is the Group Chief Marketing Officer at Nedbank. A pleasure to have you on our show. Thank you for your time this morning.
Hi, Bo. Thanks for having me.
Listen, this has become much more than a sporting event. It's certainly a part of the social calendar in Johannesburg, and it's got all kinds of elements, including lifestyle, and it's a cultural experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I think for us, it's still obviously world-class polo, which is why we play, some of the best countries that, play polo. But I think what it's done over the last few years is integrate the sport with fashion, with incredible hospitality, as well as, I think, a cultural expression of who we are as South Africans, as Africans. And all of that is integrated into one curated experience.
Well, of course, it is the sport of kings, so why not, right? Kensani, the theme this year, Africa in full color, that's bold and exciting. Tell us more about the concept and what you're expecting to see.
Well, I mean, I think color would be great, but I think what really inspired the theme is about our continent's creative energy, cultural richness, as well as, I think, the bold expression that Africans really have. So we think that the concept celebrates Africa in its full vibrancy. We're really hoping, that guests bring through immersive design and decor. If you look at our hospitality experience, especially the Nedbank Marquee, it's going to be very much a curated experience around that. And I think from an end-to-end journey, it's going to be seamless from arrival to the after party. So I really hope that people take the theme and, think about it in the context of its diversity and its innovation. And from a contemporary perspective, how do you bring Africa to life in full color? I don't know if you saw, Bo, on social media, it was trending yesterday. I think it was, I'm not sure what the name of the event was in Nigeria last week, and the clothes were incredible. So I'm hoping to see some of that at this year's polo.
And for somebody who is interested not only in the fashion and lifestyle elements, but who may be new to polo, what are some of the key things they could experience tomorrow, particularly during that match between South Africa and the US?
Firstly, what people don't know is we've got actually quite a history with the US in terms of polo. We've basically played each other 6 times, and they've won 3 times, and we've won 3 times over the last 50 years. So tomorrow isn't just a polo match. It's actually going to be a tiebreaker to see who is. And I don't want to talk about the politics between South Africa and USA in the last few months and stuff. But let's just say if we win, it'll feel like more than just a win, right? So, yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. High level of skill that the Americans have, very competitive. It's going to be quite a fast-paced match. So, and I think the legacy and prestige that the U.S. team is going to be incredible. One of the things that I enjoy personally myself is, I throw in the chaka, which is the ball. So I always start off the actual match. And I get to do it this year in the back of an Aston Martin, which is pretty cool, actually.
Oh, you have such a tough life, hey. It's so hard being you.
It's so hard, though.
Somebody has to do it, though. I mean, what I love about the lifestyle element, of course, is that we're going to be having vehicle exhibitions. There are going to be auctions. There's a picnic area. Tell me more about those aspects. The Amex Cafe, for example.
Yeah, so the Amex Cafe is really targeted at mostly our Amex clients. As you know, we are the franchise owners of American Express for South Africa. And we've created, so if you think about, if you go into the Nedbank area, it's pretty different than what you're going to experience in the Amex Cafe area. Very much what Amex brings to the table, which is living life at its best. And that's what you're going to experience in there. The picnic areas for me are one of my favorite areas. They're right near the polo field. If you buy, picnic tickets, you get to just hang out right there and almost feel like you're part of the polo. And it's always great to see a group of friends just chilling there and having a great time. There's going to be curated entertainment, like in our area, for example. We always have some great DJs after the polo. And what's great if you're an Nedbank client and you're in our marquee is both teams actually end up coming into our marquee to meet people and to celebrate. So yeah, I think it's a great day actually overall.
And also, of course, for networking, because the polo always attracts leaders from business, from fashion, from sport and entertainment. It's happening tomorrow at the Inanda Club in Sandton. And of course, the game will be specifically SA versus the USA, but there's so much more to experience. And all of those are available at Howler. That's going to be at the Nedbank. Am I invited, Kenzani?
I think you are. My team said you are. If I'm not, they're lying.
I shall work to speak to my team. But congratulations once again. I mean, as I say, this has become a huge feature of the Joburg social calendar, and tomorrow promises to be a great day. Kenzani Nobanda, their Group Chief Marketing Officer at Nedbank.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Bongani, how can we forget Roberta Fleck and Donny Haraway? Yo, what? You and I back together again. Yo, that one. It's also one of my favorite.
When's that? All right. I thought you were going to play a song there, KG. Just play the one you've got. Yeah, the closer I get to the weekend. Oh, look, it's 9 o'clock. It's been a fantastic week. Thank you to everybody who has listened. The Clement Manyatela Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. EWN has reliably learned that a fourth suspect wanted in connection with the high-profile money laundering and extortion case will make his first appearance in court today. The unidentified man joins taxi tycoon Joe Sibanyoni and his two co-accused who were arrested earlier this week. The three made their first appearance before the Kwaggafontein Magistrates Court on Wednesday, with the matter postponed to today for a formal bail application. Police had indicated that they were expecting the fourth suspect to hand himself over to authorities. Mongezi Koko reports.
Police launched their investigation in November last year after a Mpumalanga-based businessman accused the group of allegedly extorting millions of rands from him over a number of years. Sibanyoni, Mvimbi Daniel Masilela and Philemon Msiza appeared in the dock, facing charges of extortion and money